I dropped my phone in the ocean this weekend. And no, there's no happy ending. I did not get it back. Are you overwhelmed by motherhood and barely keeping your head above water? Are you confused and frustrated by how all the other moms make it look so easy? You can't figure out how to manage the chaos in your mind, your home, or your family. I get you, mama. Parenting with ADHD is hard. Here is your permission slip to let go of the Pinterest-worthy visions of organization and structure fit for everyone else. Let's do life like our brains do life. Creatively, lovingly, and with all our might. When we embrace who we are and how our brains work, we can figure out how to live our lives successfully and, in turn, lead our families well. At the end of the day, we just want to be good moms. But, spoiler alert, you are already a great mom. ADHD does not mean you're doomed to be a hot mess, mama. You can rewrite your story from shame spiral to success story. And I'll be right here beside you to cheer you on. Welcome to Motherhood in ADHD. I have been feeling very much too much the last couple of weeks. I have been making so many mistakes. Like things that would be labeled as careless mistakes that I hate. I hate that term so much. It like gut wrenches all of my childhood hurts. Like I hate it so much. And that's what I've been doing. And they're not careless mistakes. They are mistakes. And so I'm trying to rebrand this in my mind. But it has been a hard couple of weeks. And the funny part, I'm like, not, I don't know, like funny, haha, funny, but like ironic funny, I guess, is that I'm too much is the theme for the retreat coming up in October. And I'm going to tell you about the retreat at the end, but right now I'm going to talk about being too much because I picked this a really long time ago. I think it was about a year ago because it was when I was talking to Tammy Hackbarth and she was on episode 224 and that was last May. So we recorded it before that. So as soon as she said the phrase, I'm too much, I'm like, I'm doing something with that. That is a thing. I'm going to make it into a thing. And I'm going to run with that. And I quickly knew that that was going to be the following retreat because I'd already planned out the retreat for last year. And I knew this was the right phrase because I hear it all the time. You tell me this all the time that you feel like too much. And the funny part is I didn't take any notes when I decided this. I decided it and I didn't write anything down. So a month ago, I started to like make my prep for like, okay, I got to start talking about the retreat soon because tickets are going to be open in May. And I'm like, I don't remember why I picked this. And it's like my brain, like I needed like a little bit to be like, I needed to get the gears going to try to remember why I picked this. And the funny part is when I started thinking about this a month ago, I wasn't feeling very too much. So it wasn't hitting as close to home. And now I am very much feeling like too much. Maybe the universe is just keeping me humble. I don't know. But it's like a month ago, I felt like I was in a pretty good place. Like even though things have been really stressful recently, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm handling it all. Like it's not great. It's not ideal, but like overall, I think I got this. Like, I mean, if you've been here for a second, like I've been talking about, like there's just been a big transition in our family. Like my load at home has gone way up because my husband took a new job. He's traveling more. He's not working from home. Our beloved nanny went to work with another family because my kids are older now and we didn't really need her full time. But at the same time, like I for sure needed her part-time, but like she needs a real job, like that pays full-time. And like, it was time for her to move on. And I know that, but it was like so hard to say goodbye. And then also take all of that on my plate too. Because like, I recognize that the reason I was able to do this podcast and like build this business and like build a community for moms is because I had help. And I said that over and over again. And like, but you don't realize how much help you have until it's not there anymore. Like, you don't know what you got till it's gone. It's like I knew theoretically, but I didn't know until all of a sudden I was supposed to do it all on my own. And then like you add in like, maybe you can hear it in my voice. Like I've got this like cold sinusy thing that's been lingering for like 2 weeks now. And like I thought I made it through because my husband was sick for like a week and I was avoiding him like the plague to be like, I'm not getting your germs. And of course I got his germs. And so like you add that in and like I'm working on the book and I'm, working on the retreat stuff and my period was late for the first time like ever. I have a second time. I have a very regular cycle. And so now I'm like, oh my goodness, is the perimenopause starting? Was this just a fluke? Or am I like starting down the rabbit hole of perimenopause. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. The brain fog that I felt in those probably 3 weeks waiting for my cycle to start was like bonkers. I am concerned. Like, is this happening the next few years of my life? What? And then on top of just trying to go to the gym and volunteer and drink water. Like, it has been a rough transition. My stress has been up and my symptoms are up. But I thought I was doing pretty good until the perimenopause thing jumped in. I'm like, oh, is this the new normal? Or am I still in just this transition time? Like, one time I can't be like, this is a new thing. But I am concerned because in the last few weeks, I dropped my phone in the ocean. Like, I went out to video my kids boogie boarding and dropped my phone. And immediately, as soon as I dropped it, a wave came through and it was gone. Gone. Panic, sheer panic, yelling. Like, no. Like, I have not felt that level of panic in a long time. And it was like, there's nothing I can do. I mean, I searched in that ocean for a long time, but you couldn't see 2 feet in front of you in the water. Like, I was not finding it. And there's just been multiple things that I backed my car into a stationary object the other day. Thankfully there's no damage besides a scrape on my bumper, but what on earth? I didn't even look. I did not look behind me before I backed out. That's crazy. But my brain did not think, hey, look where you're going first, which worries me. Whereas when I was standing in the ocean with my phone, I was like, this is probably not a good idea. I should go back in. And I literally was telling my kids okay, you guys, we got to go back in. I'm hurting them in when I dropped the phone. And then I forgot to put sunscreen on my kids twice, which makes me feel like a bad mom. And they got crispy. And right now my oldest is so itchy and he keeps scratching at it and he's making a mess out of it. And that makes me feel even worse. I can feel the brain lag. I feel like my brain is just 1 second behind. And it's not as bad this week, but I still have this snottiness going on. So it makes me worry, is it the perimenopause? Is it the sickness? I can tell my brain is changing stations really fast. On the radio, if you're when you hit forward, trying to find what you want when you're scanning, it's I feel like my brain keeps doing that. And it feels less in my control. And normally I don't feel like that because I take my medicine consistently and I'm taking care of myself and I'm doing all the things and I'm implementing all the strategies. And I feel overall I was in a really good place a month ago. And now I'm oh my gosh, this is a lot. And where the too much thought came in, I was is this too much for my husband? Am I going to be too much for him? Between the car thing and the phone, it's not stuff that's just okay, brush it along and keep going. I am genuinely concerned at this point. And when I'm dealing with both, my brain literally did not slow down long enough to think something through and do it, checking before I back up my car. But also that as I'm standing in the ocean, I'm I should not have my phone in here. I should go back in. And I delayed it to herd my kids in when I knew oh, this is not good. I should go back in. I'm dealing with both I didn't slow down enough to think about it. And also I did not do the things when I heard the warning in my head. That makes me worry because it's this coping mechanism, circle, spiral. I don't know what you call it. Is I feel anxious because I know I did not do the thing that I would normally do, that I should do. And I don't like the word should. I should have looked behind the car. That makes me panic that my brain's not doing the things that it normally does, which makes me feel out of control, which for me tends to lean into these OCD tendencies of now I have to check things way too much because I'm worried that I'm going to miss it. And it reminds me of the time in my postpartum OCD where I was worried about everything and checking everything way more than is healthy and good for my well-being. Because when I heard the warning bell in my head of hey, you probably shouldn't have your phone in the ocean, I didn't do it. So that makes me worry that I'm not being responsible, which then makes me anxious, which turns into panic, which turns into wanting more control, to the OCD tendencies, to the worry, to the anxiety. And it just ends up in this circle that keeps going around and around. And on one hand, I'm really thankful that I have grown enough and I have all this knowledge to be I can step back and look at this objectively and give myself a hug. If you've ever done parts work in therapy of hugging myself, when I think about Patricia, who was just after having a baby and really scared and everything felt out of control and that where the OCD really started to kick in in a super unhealthy way. Like I can see the tendencies through most of my life, but like that time was like, whoo, I'm glad that I can stop and like give myself a hug and be like, okay, I see you trying to cope with this. I see you struggling and feeling like things are out of control. I see that you are scared and that you are afraid and you need a hug. And like, I appreciate that I have grown that much. And also, I'm like, I don't want to do this again. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to do this again. And I am currently working through this on my own because my therapist is on maternity leave. And I know that I can reach out to one of her associates if things get to the point where they're like untenable, horrible, awful. I have a lifeline. Do not worry about me. I am being vulnerable and sharing, but I'm not in a bad place. I am aware and concerned, but not yet underwater. And what I realized that I really miss about therapy is that it was a required time for me to stop and pause for like 2 years, like once a week. And now I'm more like every other week. But it was a required time for me to stop and think about how I'm doing and check in and process through things. So they weren't just building up and then overflowing. So I'm now having to do this on my own, which is good. Like this is the next healthy step in the process, is me being able to do it on my own. And like I recognize that like while I thought like, cool, I'm doing so great before she went on maternity leave, I'd probably skip this for a little bit. And now I'm like, I really think I want that check-in because I think that required check-in of me slowing down is really valuable. So like I want that maintenance level of care because it makes me do it. It's an accountability. Because I do recognize that like this next phase, if I am entering perimenopause, like this is going to be hard. And like if you want to go listen to other episodes on that topic, like there's one episode with Linda Rogley on menopause. It's episode 246. There's one with Dr. David Goodman, 242 about perimenopause. Like there are resources here. If you too are in this boat, like I have started researching. But in this time where I'm processing on my own, what I'm realizing is like, oh, right, this is why I picked this thing. Like, I'm too much. Like, it is too much. But too much is a relative term because being too much is like in comparison to something else. So what I like to do is tack on to the end of the phrase, I'm too much for the thing that it is too much for. So for example, we had too much sun this weekend because normally we don't spend that much time at the beach. Normally when we go there for Easter weekend, like it's earlier in the spring, so it's not as sunny, it's not as warm, so we don't stay out there that long because the kids get cold and we go inside. But like we could spend that much time in the sun later in the summer when we've built up more tolerance and our skin's a little more tanned. And by we, I mean not me, because I don't tan at all. I'm super pale and I burn in like 15 minutes. So I'm the one wearing SPF 50 and then reapplying every hour like a crazy person. Like I am obsessive about my sunscreen. I wear sunscreen every day. But like my kids, they tan much better. Thank goodness they got my husband's skin and not mine. So like I only put sunscreen on them when we're going to be out there for a long time. Or like if they're not wearing goggles, because like there's the whole thing with the goggles getting slippery with the sunscreen. And like, you know, like should I put sunscreen on them all the time? Probably. But like, you know, there's so many fights you can have as a mom. And this is not the hill I'm dying on. So I put on sunscreen all the time because I can't handle the sun. But like my level of too much sun is not the same as my husband and my kids. And me having to drop a few $100s to buy a new phone, like that could have been too much for some people. Thankfully, I can afford the $25 a month for the next 3 months while I'm also paying for the old phone that I haven't yet paid off. But like, I can handle that. It sucks, but like that too much. In this case, like I can handle the extra payment to cover my ADHD tax, sadly, but I can do it. My 7-year-old is a talker. His talking is too much for me quite often. But I make a point that whenever he's talking too much, I tell him it's too much for me. I don't tell him he's talking too much. I tell him he's talking too much for me. He's the sweetest. And like, he was the one who offered to help me go back and look for my phone after the tide went out. But like the whole time he's talking about like just on and on about my phone. And I'm like so sad out here, like pitifully looking for my phone in the sand. And like, he just keeps talking. I'm like, huh. I know he's trying to be helpful, but it was not helpful. It was just hurting my feelings so much. And I was like, Pumpkin, I really appreciate you coming out here to help me. And right now I'm really sad about my phone and I'm really frustrated that I made a mistake. And do you mind just not asking me any more questions for like a couple minutes while I just be sad? And I was really proud of myself for like, sometimes I don't have that level of self-control, but I was able to do that at that moment. And like, I don't ever want him to feel like his talking is too much like as a rule, because it's not too much for him. He's happy with his talking level. It's me, the introvert, who was like, oh my gosh, I like don't even remember that phrase. Crying in my soup, crying in my drink, crying in my bed, crying. I'm like, oh, you guys, this is it. My brain is tired, and maybe I am in the perimenopause because I can't think of words. But I was wallowing in self-pity, and the talking was too much for my self-pity. When I think of like, my husband can be too much for me because he's so boisterous and loud and extroverted, and I'm the opposite. But that's a relative term for me. My oldest is too much like me. It's like looking in a little mirror of myself. And so sometimes what he does is too much because it reminds me of exactly all the things that I wish I could change about myself, or the things that I'm working on, or the things that I'm like really trying hard to accept. Like, but it's all relative. It's in relation to how I feel about it. Like, their stuff is not a problem for them. The stuff is a problem for me. So when I was thinking about like, oh my gosh, is this too much for my husband? Like, is he going to be able to put up with this for the next few years? Because like, it's a lot. And like, his mom went through really rough perimenopause. And so like, that's part of like his childhood roughness. And I've always known that that's really hard for him. So it was like making me freak out. So I had to put a kibosh on the freak out and be like, okay, Patricia, what are we going to do about this? So like, I'm keeping my husband in the loop of what's going on and what I'm concerned about, and apologizing profusely for the phone and the car and all the things. I am using all of my skills to care for myself and making sure that I'm not abandoning the things that help me, like the structures that help me and the rhythms that help me and all the things that I've learned. Like, what are the tools that I can use to help me in this situation? Because this is going to be hard. I am adjusting the boundaries that I have in place for what I can handle, because I'm realizing like, as much as I have cut back on things that I'm doing, I'm going to have to cut back some more. Like, if my brain is going to run a second behind everything, like, I'm not going to be able to do all the things that I used to do. I caught myself driving really slow the other day because I was like, I got to be safer. And like, normally I have a lead foot. And so now I'm driving slowly. And like, that makes me really sad. It makes me feel like an old person. But until my brain catches up, which hopefully either I get rid of all the snot, but I need to make the decisions that are going to take care of me, even if I'm like, that's a bummer. I feel old. And part of it is working through and like owning this too much feeling, because I'm not being careless in the mistakes that I'm making. I care a lot. I care a lot. I care a lot, more than probably most people care. And it's not careless. What I do need to do is slow down and listen to myself when I hear myself with the warning bells. But reminding myself, like, the people that love me, they love me as I am. And like, it turns out my husband was really mad about the phone, not actually because it was the phone, because he thought I got hit by a wave and then I dropped the phone, and that he was worried about me drowning. Because if you haven't been here for a little while, I just learned how to swim when I was 35. So I was a very weak swimmer up until a few years ago. But then when I learned how to swim, and then I got really sick and I was really weak and just couldn't like swim well because I was tired all the time. So he's never known me to be a strong swimmer. And that's why he was freaking out, because he thought that I wasn't paying attention and got knocked over with the waves. And then like, he was worried about me drowning, which is why he was so upset. And so like, when we understand and like have these conversations, then we can work through so many things. It's time to be who you are unapologetically. No more contorting or shrinking yourself to fit inside the box. Instead, you're going to feel the freedom of just being yourself, because you are more accepting of who you truly are. You're invited, Mama, to this year's 4th annual Successful as a Mother Weekend Retreat. It is time to relax, unwind, rest, and take care of a very important person in the family, which is you. This year's retreat is on October 10th through 12th, 2025, and you are invited. This is an all-inclusive retreat. It covers your meals, your hotel, all of your activities. You literally only have to show up, and I will take it from there. We are staying at the peaceful Happy Goat Retreat just outside of Houston, Texas. I have rented the entire property, so we have it all to ourselves, where we will enjoy nature and breathe deep in the fresh air and the calm of the lake and the sway of the trees. But this is not camping, this is glamping. You will stay in your very own adorable, modern, tiny home with your own comfy queen-size bed, your own private bathroom, and living space that's just for you. Go check out the pictures I posted on my website because it is so cute! We will spend the weekend learning about our ADHD and tune into who you are and what you need so that you can trust your gut and love yourself a little bit more. All while eating delicious food you didn't cook, you didn't clean up, and hanging out with awesome other ADHD mamas who are just like you in this journey of understanding ADHD and also trying to do all the things, but not this weekend. This weekend, you are doing none of the things. You are relaxing. I will take care of everything and you get to focus on you. Head over to my website, patriciasung.com/retreat and get your ticket. This is a small group of 14 mamas and we already have 6 moms signed up. So I don't have a ton of spots left. Do not wait. Do not procrastinate. When you hear this and know this is for you, go get your ticket. Early bird tickets are available until the end of May and you get a few bonuses by signing up early. Number 1, there's a shrinking payment plan available. You can spread your payments out farther when you sign up earlier. There's no extra charge for that. 2, you get to choose your room. Currently, there are 4 standard tiny homes called the Bijou available and 4 deluxe tiny homes available. So get your room now so you get first dibs on the type of tiny home that you want to stay in. Number 3, everyone who buys an early bird ticket is invited to a bonus group coaching session over the weekend. Here we can dive into the specifics of what you're struggling with and identify what you want to work on going forward so that you leave the weekend feeling even more confident. And then 4, obviously you get to look forward to this trip all summer long. So go sign up, get your ticket, and take a weekend to relax and take care of yourself while I do all the work. Head over to patriciasung.com/retreat and get your ticket for the 4th annual ADHD Moms Amazing Getaway Weekend and relax. patriciasung.com/retreat. And I think that's been an interesting, side note is that I feel like a lot of issues we have, especially in relationships, come down to communication and 2 people not being on the same page or inferring something or assuming something and not really being aware of the other person. I've been on a rom-com kick as I've been sick and making myself go lay down earlier and rest more. I've been watching all these rom-coms and it's always this miscommunication after miscommunication. So when we can stop and talk about something with somebody, then it clears up whatever the confusion is. And when you're on the same page, then you can attack things as a team instead of feeling like you're on opposing sides. And then I'm working on loving myself, even when I am too much, even when I make mistakes. I know that I have come so far, and yet this is still really hard. I'm really proud of how far I've come in loving who I am, even when it feels like I'm not doing a good job. But here's the thing, I'm still me when my ADHD symptoms are well managed, and I'm still me when things are hard, when things don't feel well managed, when it feels out of control, I'm still me. And I'm never going to get to the point where I'm somebody else and I don't have ADHD. And that's not my goal. So I have a lot more forgiveness and grace for myself, knowing that the goal isn't to be perfect or to pretend like I don't have ADHD. The goal is to love who I am and do my best. Sometimes my best is not being late, and sometimes my best is still running late. Sometimes my best is not making mistakes, and sometimes I still make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and I have to keep reminding myself of that. And just because I'm doing well at a time and I'm not sticking my foot in my mouth, I'm not messing up, that doesn't mean I don't have ADHD. I still have ADHD. And I'm still worthy of being loved, no matter how well I'm doing in the moment. And right now, things are hard. I am in a transition, in a shift where things are not easy. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't have to deal with recently because I had things well managed and my stress was lower. But I'm really glad that now I don't have to hide. I don't have to pretend like I don't have problems. I don't have to try to compensate for all my shortcomings, if you will. I can be me and I don't have to hide who I am. I'm still going to strive for doing better. I'm still going to strive to get all my ducks in a row and feel like I'm using my strategies and my skills, but my goal isn't perfection, and my goal isn't to not have ADHD, and my goal isn't to have no problems so that would make me more lovable. No, I am lovable just as I am. And accepting who I am is very different than ignoring who I am. And this is what I want you to get out of this episode. This is what I want you to get out of coming to the retreat, is knowing how to accept yourself, how to love yourself, how to trust yourself more, how to have kindness and grace and forgiveness when the doo-doo is hitting the fan, and you might have caused some, if not all of it. And you are still worthy. You're still valuable. You are still lovable, even in the mess. But not in spite of the mess, but because people are messy. Nobody's perfect. And I am doing this episode as much for you as I am for myself, because I need to hear this too. And I want to give you the gift of an entire weekend being able to spend time investing in accepting yourself, investing in loving yourself, investing in knowing that you are worthy just as you are. So I hope that you're going to join me on the retreat this fall. And if you can't, for one reason or another, I want you to go back and listen to this episode again and remind yourself of how much you are lovable and how much you are valuable. And even when you feel like you're too much, you may be too much for somebody else or some other situation, but you by yourself are not too much. You are just perfect the way you are, even though you're not perfect. And if you are going to come with me this weekend to enjoy this amazing weekend with other moms who got it, listen, go get your ticket. This is the time. This is the time. Go get your ticket. They are on sale today. As of currently, we've got 4 tickets available for the Bijou Tiny Home, which is the regular tiny home. And we have 4 deluxe tiny homes available, which is a 1-bedroom unit. And these are so cute. They're so adorable. You have to go on the website, go look up the pictures. They're adorable. I'm actually staying there next weekend to work on my book. Like, I adore this place. It's so cute. And I want you to have this little nugget of space to be by yourself and relax and enjoy the gorgeous tiny home where you're going to be able to sleep in your own queen bed and you have your own private bathroom and all of the modern amenities that we as moms want as we're relaxing, and yet in the midst of nature. I have rented out the entire property at the Happy Goat Retreat. So we get the full 14 acres to ourselves. There's a lake and a swimming pool, pine trees that are swaying in the breeze, and we get to be in the calm of nature and look at the stars in the sky and relax. And then also like be in a modern sleeping situation. Because I'm too old for this camping business. I love camping. I'm getting too old for that. It's okay. We can enjoy nature and modern plumbing at the same time. Once you arrive, I take care of everything for you. I take care of all the food. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean. You don't have to worry about anything. You just get to enjoy and relax, hang out, and have great conversations. One of the things that always makes us laugh, and when we're there, is like we dive right into the deep stuff. Like all of us have ADHD or suspect that we have ADHD. Like you don't have to have an official diagnosis to come, because like if you resonate with what I'm doing, like let's be real here, chances are you have ADHD or you're somehow neurospicy in some way. If you think I'm funny and you think I'm relatable, welcome to the family. Like you don't have to have a piece of paper that tells you you are valid to be here. All moms who suspect that they might have ADHD are welcome. And you're with people who get it. Most of us have kids who are also neurospicy, and we can talk through these things with people who get it and aren't going to be like, well, why don't you just know? Everyone here is like, hey, I get it. This is hard. I got some ideas if you want some, but nobody's here shaming you for what you're doing because we get it. And building those relationships and having time to spend with people who understand you at the core level immediately is just such a sigh of relief. And then on Saturday, we're diving in and doing coaching, and we're talking about how do we understand our ADHD and how do we understand ourselves better so that we can love ourselves even in those moments where we feel too much. But I want you to have a weekend to be able to take care of you, to relax and breathe and not worry about the clock and what has to get done. You just get to worry about you. And having that 48 hours of no responsibility and no pressure is such a lift on your spirit and gives you so much capacity. As much as you know how much you're doing, I really think that as moms, we don't realize how much we are doing because we're so busy and we're doing all the things that when you have 2 whole days to just, well, I guess three because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like when you get that time to just worry about you, you get like this glimpse back into who you were before kids and that peacefulness and like the lack of responsibility that you had before you cared for somebody 24/7. And you get this glimpse of that and you remember who you are. And it's this breath of fresh air to be like, oh, right, me, I'm still a person and I matter. Every time the moms leave and they're like, this weekend away was such a gift. And like, they go through the whole next week just on cloud 9, like realizing like, oh, I needed that. I needed that time to care for me because you do so much for everyone else. And I want you to have a weekend where somebody's just taking care of you and you don't have to worry about anything. You get to learn about your ADHD and helping understand yourself better. And that's what it brings us to accepting ourselves and loving ourselves more. and being in community with other moms who also are dealing with similar stuff, like that also helps us know that like there's not something wrong with me. Like this is a thing that lots of people deal with. And it's so much easier to deal with problems when we know that it's not you. It's not me. I'm not the problem. It gives so much grace when you get to feel seen and heard. And this group of moms is just so welcoming and so loving. I adore them so much. And I want you to have a piece of that too. Like I want you to be there. And then Saturday evening, we just hang out and we talk and we enjoy each other's company and have wonderful conversations. And then on Sunday morning, we'll have breakfast there and you can head on your way and enjoy the rest of your week. This is a beautiful weekend together and I cannot wait to spend it with you. So go get your ticket at patriciasong.com/retreat. Again, that's patriciasong.com/retreat. Now, if you are listening to this before the end of May, you can grab your early bird ticket, and early bird tickets come with some bonuses. Number one, there's a shrinking payment plan available. You can spread your payments out farther when you sign up earlier. There's no extra charge for that. 2, you get to choose your room. Currently, there are 4 standard tiny homes called the Bijou available and 4 deluxe tiny homes available. So get your room now so you get first dibs on the type of tiny home that you want to stay in. Number 3, everyone who buys an early bird ticket is invited to a bonus group coaching session over the weekend. Here we can dive into the specifics of what you're struggling with and identify what you want to work on going forward so that you leave the weekend feeling even more confident. And then 4, obviously you get to look forward to this trip all summer long. And if you are listening to this after June 1st, still come grab your ticket because we are going to have an amazing weekend together and you still want to look forward to this trip for the rest of the summer. I cannot wait to hang out with you in October. I'll talk to you soon, Successful Mama. For more resources, classes, and community, head over to my website, motherhoodinadhd.com.